Welcome, everyone. My name is Maureen Wilson, proud councillor for Ward 1 in the City of Hamilton. It's June 24th, 2024. I'm going to introduce who's going to be leading this presentation tonight. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the construction team overseeing this work. Ed English is the manager. Paul McShane is the senior project manager, and Hazel Rodriguez is the construction technician. Also joining us this evening is Jackie Kennedy, who is the city's director of engineering services. Here's tonight's agenda on the York Cannon reconstruction work. Just a quick scope overview, how the work will be phased, the traffic management plan that will be in place during the work, and of course, we always leave time for questions and answers. So this has a long storied history in Ward 1 and in Ward 2, of course. I'll get to that in a minute. But what is the scope of work? Well, the city will be replacing the water main and the associated road and sidewalk work. It's a big deal. It's big work, and we'll get into that. The benefit also is we'll be able to use this opportunity of work to improve the pedestrian crossings, including mid-block independent pedestrian crossings with activated signals. There'll be transit integration with raised bus stops. There'll be cycle barrier enhancements, and there'll be a raised some cycle lanes that will be the same height as the sidewalk. Also, on Cannon Street, the replacement of the water main and associated road and sidewalk work will take place. That's the heavy lifting in that section. And cycle barrier enhancements will be done on Cannon Street between Queen and Bay and Bay to James. They'll be replacing those precast concrete curbs with poured concrete curbs, so much nicer. Over to Ed English.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. The City of Hamilton has a contract with Green Infrastructure Partners, GIP, to complete the works as called for under the contract C15-28-24. Construction is scheduled to commence on or about July 8th, 2024, with the north side being completed by December 2024 and the south side in 2025, starting in April of 2025 and completed by August of 2025. The works are as follows. It's a 500 millimeter water main installation from Locke Street to Caroline Street, road resurfacing on Cannon Street from James to Queen, York Boulevard from Caroline to 100 meters west of Dundurn Street, road and sidewalk reconstruction on Dundurn Street North from York Boulevard to Jones Street. There will be intersection improvements at Cannon Street, at McNabb Street, Bay Street North, Hess Street North, and Queen Street North. York Boulevard will have intersection improvements at Hess Street North, Queen Street North, McGill, Pearl, Locke, Rolfs, Strathcona Avenue, and Dundurn Street North. Two-way conversion will happen on Hess Street North from Barton to York Boulevard. And active transportation track or bike lane improvements on Cannon Street from James to Queen and on York Boulevard from Bay Street to the City of Hamilton limit to the west. Just a note that all EMS services have been consulted on the upcoming works and are working with our team and attending bi-weekly site meetings to ensure that there are no delays in emergency services to the area. Okay, so this plan that we're looking at right now is the phase 1 preparatory plan. The preparatory works will enable traffic diversion and work zone preparation for the first stage of works for 2024. And what is going to happen here is we will have one lane in each direction. Both of those lanes will be immediately adjacent to the center boulevard. And while traffic is traveling on those two lanes, we will have, excuse me, work areas on the north side of York and on the south side of York. What's going to happen is that's going to take approximately 3 or 4 weeks. And then once this is completed, and you can scroll through the next couple of slides here showing that section up to lock, and then the next section takes us to McGill and continuing. This one takes us to Oxford, and you can keep going through there. Right to here. So this takes us right to Queen Street, and what will happen once all of this work in the preparatory stage or phase 1 is completed, we will be moving traffic, all of it, onto the south side of York Boulevard. So we can move to the next screen. So phase 2 is all of the works on the north side of the project. This work will take approximately 3 to 4 months. All traffic will be shifted to the south side, as I had mentioned, of the boulevard. There will be 1 lane in each direction that will be maintained. Major traffic delays are to be expected. Now, I don't like being the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately, with the progress of having this complete reconstruction carried out, there will be traffic delays. So it's always best to try to find another route to the west or to the east if you happen to live in the area, or if you're joining us from outside of the area, to avoid this section, perhaps moving up to either King Street or even further south to bypass the downtown area. So again, the water main works will be completed on this. Road resurfacing works on the north side only, including all active transportation track and intersection improvements. The following streets will not have access to York Boulevard. The access will be from Barton Street West, and those streets are Oxford Street, Ray Street North, McGill Street, Crook Street, Inchbury Street, and Rolfs Gate. So what this means is that regular through traffic will not be available to York Boulevard. However, as we had mentioned, EMS has been consulted on this, and we will be in constant communications with all of the EMS units to ensure that should the need for access to one of those roads arise, we will be able to get them through the construction site.
And I just want to add that in the case of Inchbury, you're going Barton, Lock, Tecumseh, Tecumseh up Inchbury. So that's if you're accessing the business at York and Inchbury, you will have to come up Inchbury from Tecumseh to be able to access them.
Yes, north on Lock, and then you'll head west from there, eventually making your way. Okay, so you can see here, we're working through our slides, Strathcona to Lock in this slide, and then the next slide will take us Lock to McGill, and you'll see that the red hatched area on the north side, all of the north side from the boulevard to the boulevard on the north side of York is all hatched out, and that's where all of the work will be going on during 2024. And you'll see on the south side of the road what looks like a number of pylons down the middle of those 2 lanes is actually a delineation between the eastbound and the westbound traffic. You will still be able to turn onto Lock Street and the major intersections. So yes, once again, I will revisit that major traffic delays are to be expected. And the next slide, please.
And to be clear, on these side streets, there'll be no left turns. If you're going westbound, you cannot turn left into the smaller side streets. Is that correct?
Correct. And here we are moving into the Queen Street and Hess Street area of the York Cannon project. You can see that we've got that the eastbound traffic will continue on York past Queen for this phase, and it will be one-way traffic from there, and you'll see the westbound traffic from Cannon Street will merge into the westbound lane on the south side of York. We can go to the next slide. And this is the limit of the work for phase 2, and showing the westbound traffic on the north side of Cannon before the merge into westbound on York. Phase 3, the work zone will be extended to include the section from Bay Street North to James Street North on Cannon Street West. The works will start during phase 2 to ensure simultaneous completion and should take approximately 2 to 3 months. Traffic control will be extended from Bay Street North to James Street North, and this includes active transportation improvements, as Councillor Wilson had stated, with new barriers being constructed. So I just wanted to touch on, when we talk about active transportation, the city does have both eastbound and westbound cycling detours. They are under review at the moment, and they will continue to be reviewed over the next short while until they are deemed to be satisfactory as far as safety goes. And we will release those at the very earliest opportunity, and they will also be posted on the city's website. For 2025, we will be going ahead and completing the road resurfacing works on the south side, and that will include all active transportation track and intersection improvements, road reconstruction on Dundurn Street North from York Boulevard to Jones Street, and a two-way conversion of Hess Street North from York Boulevard to Barton Street West. What will happen in 2025? We will be switching the traffic over to the north side, and we will have one lane in each direction on the north side of York, and that will run from April until August. And at that point, all of the work will be completed, and we will have our brand new and beautiful York Boulevard and Cannon road reconstruction for everybody to enjoy, as well as the active transportation tracks.
Before we go there, could I confirm, in terms of, if let's pretend we have perfect weather for this, from now until the north side phases are done, will York on the north side open during the winter months for regular flow of traffic, say ideally between December and mid-March, or will it be closed off the entire time until it switches over next spring?
Ideally, it will be completely open at the end of construction this year. Our idea is to, well, it's not our idea, it's our plan to have it completely open at the end of this year. So we will go through the winter with traffic on the north side moving westbound and traffic on the south side moving eastbound.
Thank you.
Another thing that you will see coming when the construction company moves onto the site on July 8th is that they will be stopping by some of the homes that are immediately adjacent to the work and asking about a pre-construction survey. And whenever these happen in all of our projects, really across the city, we always encourage the residents to have a pre-construction survey of their property done. What they do is they look at windows and foundations for your house and just ensure that it's in tip-top shape before construction starts, and it's also a protection for you as we move through construction, just on the very off chance a problem develops. And I don't want to say that to scare anybody, but it's always good protection to have that pre-con survey done. It's no cost to you. The contractor will come by. They hire a subcontractor who will then come in at a date that's convenient for you, and they will have a look at your property, and then you'll be protected.
I want to, if I could just add to that,
yes.
On Locke Street, when the major reconstruction was done there, the advantage to the residents who may have, it's harder to prove something happened as a result of construction unless you have the precondition or pre-construction survey. So if your location qualifies, it's really important that you do it for your own peace of mind.
Yes. Okay. So actually, if you could just zip back to that again. So this is the construction project website, and I think that everybody will find extremely helpful information all about the project. on this website. I encourage you to go and visit it. And there is also a design presentation video, and you've got the link right there. So these will be available after this meeting. I believe that Councillor Wilson's office will be making this available to those who would like to have the information.
You know what, I'll bring up the storyboard site just to show folks what that looks like. So just bear with me while I switch screens here. Can you see the storyboard site?
If you scroll further down.
Let's go to the top there. There we go. All right. So hopefully you can see the storyboard site, which has a lot of really great information, and certainly will tell you about the project, how the city got there, some of the things that were done in the process, and highlight specific areas of the project to tell you what's happening in them. I thought this was really helpful to be able to click on the specific numbers and then drill down to what they're doing in that location. So well done on your team's part of getting that done. I don't know if there's the timeline and construction, which is you're adding more to, and all the contact information there as well.
Yes. Yep, we will be adding to it as we go along. All the way through the project, actually, we will be adding to it. We will have updates where we're at, what the different stages are. So keep an eye on it. Make it a favorite on your web browser, and you can visit it regularly to see any updates. And of course, there are always on the city's websites, there are always ways that you can contact if you have any specific questions. There is also actually a section on this for frequently asked questions, and we are currently populating with some of the questions that we get on most of our construction projects, but there will be questions that come up specifically for the York Canon, and we will add frequently asked questions and answers to that section of the website as well. And you can see there the contact information for anybody who has questions on the project. So, yeah, I believe that's it for mine.
Thank you very much, Ed. Just a little bit of editorial comment from me before we have lots of time to get into the Q&A. This project should not be news to anyone. It's been on and off the books for a long time. It, in fact, was one of the first public meetings I ever held in October 2019 after getting elected. 3 meetings we held on the design, and just maybe 2.5 months after that, the project itself was put into question because Premier Ford canceled LRT, and the original design was tethered to the LRT project in terms of its environmental assessment. And so we regrouped, and the city I believe rightfully felt work was needed, and very pleased that we're going ahead. So those 3 meetings in October 2019, Ed referenced an online meeting we had at the end of 2022 on the design presentation. We also did a walkabout that we, I think, advertised for folks for the neighborhood to just walk with us down York Boulevard and talk to us about life in and around this street. And then, of course, this evening, very pleased to be with you. We haven't had a lot of reconstruction work in the lower city, particularly in wards 1 or 2. So we're a little bit out of practice. And I would like to say that the city is back into rebuilding again. But that doesn't come without a little bit of inconvenience and pain. And I know our patience may be tested throughout this. I could only say to you that this is needed investment in our subsurface work, infrastructure, and it's needed investment on the above surface, and it will be a good quality finished product at the end. But like anything, we'll just have to get through it, be neighborly, be patient, be understanding, ask questions. And I'm always here to troubleshoot with you, for you, in partnership with the city staff. That's what we're here for. So with no further ado, we have some questions, which, as we noted from the top, our moderator extraordinaire is Stephanie, and she's going to start reading those questions.
Will there be pedestrian access from the side streets, for example, Oxford Street, etc., to York, or will that also be via Barton? So will folks be able to go up and down York in from a pedestrian perspective, particularly on the north side? So the folks that are along Oxford, Ray, McGill, and Crooks, and Lock and Inchbury on the north side, will they still have some York Street sidewalk to be able to access during that period of time?
Yep, I'm just thinking about it here now. You know, in the reconstruction portion of the project, we are keeping a lot of the sidewalk. So mainly between the intersection improvements, where we will have the sidewalks reconstructed to make for AODA compliant crossings. The long sections of sidewalk in between the long straight sections in the blocks will be kept. So there will be an opportunity, as long as it's safe for pedestrians to traverse from the side streets onto that north sidewalk. So it is something that we will be looking at and trying to make that available for people, as long as it's safe.
Will there be a change to the truck route during the lane reductions on York?
The truck route will remain. It comes up Cannon, and the truck route actually goes up Queen Street to King. That is the truck route. So trucks are not supposed to be heading out westbound or eastbound in the section between King and Dundurn if trucks happen to come in that way. That's not a truck route. So anything coming from the east will go southbound on Queen to King, and then get to the 403 either westbound or eastbound from King Street.
Where will the overflow traffic go during construction?
I think that overflow traffic, as I'd said during the presentation on a couple of different occasions, we are expecting traffic to be backed up. So I think that the overflow will naturally head up to King Street. It will be the quickest way for people to avoid this area, and the sooner that I think that people could move up to King Street, the better off it would be. So if they were traveling from, let's say, east of the construction site, I would say if they could get up to King Street at perhaps Wellington would probably be the first opportunity to get up to King Street and then travel through the downtown area. That would be the surest way to avoid congestion on Cannon and York.
So to be clear, there've been, I think some people are concerned about cut through traffic, which we already see sometimes when traffic is high at the dinner hour. So in terms of side streets, you guys are putting as much signage in to make it clear that it is local road access only for those who, so if I think about where you could turn into a side street right now, which would be between York and King, there's signage to say local rights only. There's no left-hand turns to try to get off York Boulevard there if you get frustrated. But the first few weeks of any construction projects, you will see a lot of people trying to find opportunities within a neighborhood, and they'll become very frustrated very quickly.
We do find that on every construction. Yeah. But yes, to answer your question, the local traffic only signs will be posted. And again, every construction project that we have where we have to close down a road or limit travel on that road, people always try to find their best route, and it does generally take 2 or 3 weeks before the traffic settles and people find alternate routes that work for them. So we can expect a little bit of headache and heartache at the beginning, but just stick with it, and it will ease somewhat for people trying to find their way through. I have to admit that when I leave the downtown area at the end of every day, I'm one of those people that avoids the intersection at Queen and King. So we all try to find an alternate route that works best for us.
I find I often actually will go up the mountain and down and around to avoid the downtown area. Also, please know that we've also let Hamilton Police Services know that this is happening, and if they have officers available, they will kind of patrol the area to watch for aggressive driving, failure to stop at stop signs and stuff like that during those initial weeks. So we will keep in touch with them and let them know how things are progressing, but we did ask for some support from them as well.
And also a quick note that we are working with traffic to adjust the traffic timing to help the flow, so that it will move smoothly through there rather than having odd timed lights just backing up consistently. So traffic will be monitoring that live. They will be tinkering with the timing of those lights and observing it live to see how it best works during the traffic situation and the construction situation.
See your question about timing of lights, and that's a programming question.
Yeah. So the timing of the lights, as I said, during construction, they will be adjusting during construction, but the final timing of the lights will be set up after construction is completed, and they will be looking at the final timing on that. It is, in fact, already on transportation and traffic's radar to keep an eye on this. So once the project is complete and everything is back to moving smoothly through there, they will be making their adjustments at that time, their final adjustments.
How far into each side street will road work be happening? How deep into Pearl Street will the construction demolition of the road go?
Generally, it just goes to the end of the radiuses. So as you come off of York and turn onto the side streets, generally where the radius ends and where the straight section of the side street begins, that's where the construction will end.
So if you look at my cursor, I don't know, can you see my cursor moving up side to side then? So about there?
Yes,
yeah,
that's correct.
About there on each block. Okay.
Usually means about 10 meters in from the traveled portion of the road. So, but you can say right to the end of that radius would be the perfect way to describe where it ends.
And radius for the non-tech crowd is the curved area.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. While work is being done at York and Queen, will Queen be converted to two ways between King and York?
No, Queen will remain one way.
Thank you. Will the cycling detours be protected? Barton Street isn't really an all ages, all abilities selection for things. So I think you spoke to them reviewing that.
Yes, we are reviewing the plans. As I said, we do have detours that are in draft, but we will ensure that when they are released and put into play, they will be approved and safe.
Will any of the trees in the boulevard between the west and eastbound lanes of York have to be removed because of construction? I think that's the center median.
I believe it. Yeah. I believe so. Yeah, but I believe that any of the trees that have to be removed have already been removed.
Because you're not touching the center median at all, other than curb work and some crossings for the pedestrian signal.
There are correct. Yeah, and so there are trees that will be planted in the center median. Any of the removed trees were dead or grossly inactive as far as producing leaves, but they've all been removed. So any of the tree work that's going to be going on there will be in 2025. So at the end of the project, just towards the end, just before we open it up, there is a tree planting plan that we will be putting in a few new trees.
Super. So keeping what we got there now and getting more.
Yes.
So specifically asking how to access Strathcona Market during this period of time. And I briefly mentioned earlier that in order to access the market, which is at York and Inchberry on the north side, you'll have to go northbound on Lock, west on Tecumseh, depends on how you want to say that, and then back onto and up Inchberry to access Strathcona Market during this period of time. Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Will there be pedestrian crossing improvements for crossing York where there are currently pedestrian crossing routes with no lights, no stoplights? So this is, to Marty, this is a design question, and you'll be happy to know there's a video that tells you what's coming there. That includes 2 independent pedestrian signals, Strathcona to the west of Inchberry, and then from Pearl to McGill. And those independent signals allow you to push the button, it turns red, it stops traffic completely, and it's at the pedestrian's ability, they activate it. It's not automatic, you push it, you control when it happens. So that's kind of a bonus. But if you look at our video that we described, and is in the links, you'll be able to see more information on the specific crossings like that. Are the streets that are closed because of construction, will they be temporary dead ends? Will parking be permitted at on both sides of the street? So if we look at, okay, so no, same parking remains the same as it is currently.
Yes, parking remains the same.
Okay, and then nobody should be parking at the dead end side at the end?
No. No, it's still, we still need access on those fire trucks, EMS services. We still need to maintain emergency access. So we would not want parking on both sides. That would make it hard on some of those side streets. That would make it hard for a car to make it down there. Never mind a fire truck or an ambulance. So we would like to keep it clear.
Will the cycling route, when it's done, be well signed? Mark is with Cycle Hamilton. I believe he's on the cycling committee, the city cycling committee, and they have lots of suggestions for creating safe cycling routes. And he just wants for sure to make sure that it's really decently signed during that period of time.
Yes, they will be.
Super, thank you. Okay.
There's a full cycling plan that aligns with Book 18 as far as active transportation goes. So it will be fully signed, and I think that the cyclists who will be using that route will be happy with how it's signed.
With traffic being diverted along Barton, will street parking be changing, particularly on Barton between Queen and Lock, which has only single lanes in each direction? So will the parking remain on Barton during this period of time, or will it be removed?
There will be no change to the parking on Barton at this time. Everything will remain. So if there's parking there now, it will in fact remain parking availability.
Martin is wondering about adjustments to curves. I know a major reason that many north-south routes can't be converted 2 ways is the turning radii. Will those sidewalk curves be adjusted such that 2-way conversions, Carolyn Hess, for example, will become possible in future?
So anywhere that we are changing to 2-way, we will be making adjustments at the intersection. All of the intersection improvements will accommodate the turning that is appropriate for that intersection. This isn't unfamiliar to us with our work that we'll be doing on Main Street. We've got a number of of intersection improvements where we will have to improve the radiuses as we come around the corner when Main Street gets converted to two-way. So much the same. Hess Street will be coming two-way, so the radiuses at that intersection will be improved to accommodate turning.
Thank you, Ed. That's the last question. That's great. Is there any other comments you have before we finish up?
I just ask that people are patient with the work. I know that it's a long project, but it will be worthwhile at the end. And I would like to think that when it's all over, people will even forget that it happened, and York and Cannon will be their favorite street to travel on. So
Thank you all. There's as soon as April hits, I know our evenings fill up with fun things, with chores, and the fact that you chose to spend this evening with us shows that you care about your neighborhood. You know that this is an important project, and you now have further information to make what's coming a little bit more manageable, and you know how to reach us, I hope. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you do have questions moving forward. We won't be able to rebuild the Coliseum, but we'll sure help in our effort to make changes when we can and provide you the information as quickly as we can. So thank you again. Thank you to all members of city staff who also spent their evening with us. Greatly appreciated. I hope you have a lovely evening, and the rest of your week is merry, bright, and safe. Thank you.